All right, Jared, we're back with you, man. Appreciate the time once again.
Yeah,
Um,
you do it.
we've gone over 8 or 9 questions or so, and so let's get back to this one right here. At what point in your baseball career did you think the big leagues would become a reality?
I would say the biggest thing was initially was getting drafted. I think that was obviously people that get drafted have a big league or have the skill set or possible skill set to be a big league pitcher, a big league.
Somebody sees something in you good enough to
Right,
draft you.
right. Somebody saw enough in me to possibly develop or have potential tools to be a big league pitcher or whatever. So after shortly, there was a couple weeks after that where you realize, I'm the same size, if not bigger, than some of these guys that are already in pro ball, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I put myself in the best position. I think that was the initial thought, and then at Double A when I had success for the first time, I coaches and players had told me in the past, if you have success at Double A, you can pitch or you can play in the big league. So I think that once I had success, I was had success there at that. I thought that I had a chance.
Good deal, man. What? It's a big question here. You and I have talked about it a little bit, and obviously with you being in the big league circuit, and I don't think we want to turn it into a runaway train on this one, but what are your thoughts of the Astros sign stealing?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is they definitely crossed the line, and anytime you add video to or add electronics to get an advantage, I think you're definitely crossing the line. It's one thing to um, for somebody to be on second base and for them to relay signs because I didn't have as tricky of a scheme or as tough as a pitch sequencing uh, type of thing or calling to throw them off. I think that's on me. If they can relay signs that way. But as soon as you add electronics, I think you're definitely crossing the line.
Yeah, yeah, man. It makes for some interesting conversation. I'm sure the Astros right now are enjoying a little bit of the delay, hoping things
Yeah,
cool off. But
yeah,
it is what it is, man. Guys made decisions, and so all you can do now is go out and play the game and keep moving, and hope things get better.
yeah.
What's your favorite stadium to play in?
I would say I've said this in the past. I think it's got to be either Fenway or Fenway and Wrigley. They're very similar parks. You're walking the tunnels of players that have every player that's played in the big leagues before. You're walking the same tunnel. That's just kind of surreal to think about. And then as far as the playing surface, you feel like you're throwing the pitch and the catcher's in the stands. They're so close to you.
Yeah.
Um, they're right on you. There's not much foul territory. Um, it's as loud as you can be. You give up a hit, you can barely breathe. You feel like it's the weight's just on your chest. You can't feel yourself, and then but it's just as good to silence them. I think too. Whenever you get a big out.
Oh, that's all. I mean, I mean, you can only imagine that being at Fenway. I mean, you've been there, but as
Yeah,
far as us, guys that have been there, yeah, you imagine, you know, everybody in Boston's losing their mind. They're screaming.
yeah.
Everything in their book is
Everything
flying
under the sun. Yeah,
shit. And now you can punch a guy with the bases loaded with a 3-2 count and just feel the gasp in the air fly out of the cells. That's got to be an awesome feeling.
for sure.
What what are you doing to keep in shape and game ready during a COVID-19 shutdown?
So I got a pretty lucky situation. I got a buddy of mine who I've been throwing with all off season up to this point for a handful of off seasons actually. He actually just signed with the Otters for this coming season. So really jacked for him to be able to get to pitch here, live at home, and then get a chance to get back to affiliated ball. But he's
Casey
actually
Delgado? Yeah,
what's that?
man.
Yeah,
Casey Delgado, yeah. He's
yeah.
a good dude too. I'm glad to see him get the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him too, and it's like I said, it's a perfect situation for him. And then, but anyways, I play catch with him every day, and I'm lucky enough he's got his own garage gym, and I'm able to go there every day. He's got everything I need to get what I need, as far as weightlifting goes, and I think I'm just lucky. I'm a lucky guy as far as all this stuff is concerned, because I think a lot of guys in these bigger cities have gyms completely shut down, and they have no way to get work in. So I consider myself pretty lucky for sure. But
Let me see. Pierce Jones. He wants to know, man. You've seen Pierce forever, man.
yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah,
had a chance to work with him forever, man.
yeah.
What advice would you give yourself in high school and college? If you could go back and give yourself advice in high school and college, what would it be?
Yeah, so I think high school would be just trust what you're doing. I did everything I could to put myself in the best position. And high school, I didn't know if I was going to play. Didn't know if I was going to play college baseball, but I tried to practice every day, give everything I had every single day, and just to be able to look myself in the mirror. And that's even now too. But just look yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself, did I do everything I could possibly do to give myself a chance, whether it's just to play college or to play professionally or just to be successful as a whole. That was the biggest thing. It's just whether it's college, high school, whatever, professional, just what did I do absolutely everything I could do to get better and to do this whole thing, this whole career with zero regrets. And I think that's what I can hang my hat on when I'm done playing is, after making that promise to myself, after getting a chance to play in college, that I was going to do that through and through. So I would say that's the first thing, and then two would just be making sure that you let things go and not dwell on things. I'm pretty hard on myself as a player, so just to be able to let stuff go, let the hard times, the tough games, the rough at bats, whatever it may be, let them go. Focus on the positive and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Brian Kohlmeyer, we chatted a little bit about icing earlier as far as how you're kind of getting away from the icing part of it and using more of a Mark Pro, which is a electric stem and e-stem muscle flush device. But as far as heat, are you using heat anywhere?
I don't typically use heat. I have in the past with my shoulder when I was going through some stuff with that. But ideally, you use the heat before you get started. Like you have the heat on for about 20 minutes or so, a big heat pad or whatever it may be, to get things going, get the muscles loose and fired up, and then along with some activation type stuff. But the heat typically is before. The post would be, like I said, the Mark Pro, which I'm going to try to do, and the E-stem type of thing going forward, and or even something like a contrast tub going from hot and cold back and forth, something like that. Which I'm sure there's some ways to get through that, especially like being at home and not having some certain things, having a tub full of ice and having a hot tub or hot bucket full of water, however you could do that. But that's what a lot of guys do too, post game. I know Aaron Nola, guy with the pitcher with the Phillies, he started doing that. I think last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, contrasting after he got done.
Yeah. And for guys that aren't, for sure contrasting, all you're doing is you're trying to expand and contract muscles, just trying to move fluid, really.
Right.
And that's what the Mark Pro is doing. It's trying to pump and flush waste fluid and trying to drag in more oxygenated blood to try to heal up a lot faster. Do you think MLB will get rid of human umpires? And if so, what are your other thoughts or concerns on that? Bunning wants to know.
Yeah, I think the baseball's big on pace of play and all that stuff, and I think a lot of the issues come from the strike zone and just how you got to be so precise. You got to be so precise with your pitches. It's hard enough to throw the ball where you want to, and sometimes you miss over the plate or missed over the plate, on the opposite side or whatever have you, and it's called for a ball. So that delays game. You got to pitch, throw more pitches, and things for that nature. But I think they're going to probably try to get the automated strike zone, but there's so many more variables they have to figure out before that's going to be implemented. I think we're talking 5 years away for the players to be okay with that.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing that's also very relevant and important to understand too is that the players union or the MLBPA, they've got to say so, they've got to vote in it.
Yeah.
And so it makes for some interesting conversation, that's for sure. Let's get we'll go to the next question. Alex Basnet, he's got a good one right here. What do you do to stay mentally focused on the daily grind of a 162-plus game season, especially when things aren't going your way? And 162-plus, you always think 162-game season, or even you go to the minor side and go 142-game season or 140-game season. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys forget to put spring training in on that, and spring training is a whole nother grind in itself. You're not sleeping in till 11, getting up, getting breakfast, and then going to the yard at 1, and then taking it easy in cruise control, getting your pre-workout, your BP, then your catch, go out, your throw, your game, and then you're out of there by 11 and restart. Spring training is a whole other animal. You're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go in for 7 a.m. meetings.
Yeah, it's you're breaking down your body. You're also breaking down your body, not only the 162, you're breaking them down for another 40, for another 30, 40. You're talking before games start. You're essentially talking about 100 and almost 200 games. Essentially 200 games, and then you get playoffs hopefully. So you're over 200 games for the year. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do. And that's what I said it a couple of videos ago, I think, that we did. It's just, what can you do right now? What can you do right now to get better? Am I making sure every rep I'm doing is perfect or as good as possible? Am I having intentful throws? Am I concentrating on what I can control? That's the biggest thing. As soon as you look too far ahead, the whole season looks daunting. You look at 100 and you're 10 games in, and you're looking at, I got another 150 games to go. That's daunting. That's daunting for anything. It's like you're looking up a mountain. But if you just take every day and look where you're at and just look right in front of you, take one step ahead, one step being each day, and just focusing on what you can control, what you can accomplish, and just try to execute that day as best you can. Go to sleep at night, reset it. When you wake up, you do the same things. I've been training that, and it takes time to do. But if you guys can train that as far as all the way down to the single rep of a workout or a one sprint, it can help. It can make this season seem a lot shorter and make those hard times a lot shorter too.
We talk to our guys a lot about that. It's just win each day. And it goes back to winning each pitch. Like, hey, each pitch, like, you can't do anything about the old one. Analyze, take what you got out of it. But we're getting 15 seconds between each pitch, and that's at the big league level, 12 to 15 seconds between each pitch. We get down to the youth levels, and you're looking, some of these guys, getting the baseball back, and you work quick. You like to get it and go. But even at our levels, the amateur levels, you're getting 5 to 6 to 7 pitches between each pitch. And if you're worried about what went wrong with the last one and how it wasn't good and how there was a problem with this pitch or a problem with this, that's 8 valuable seconds that you're going backwards, and now you're not prepared for what's next. So that's important for sure. Let me phone went black on me. Okay, here we go. Jack's Paddock ask a really good one right here. Is it hard to pitch with so many people watching you at games? And I have a feeling this question's going to lead into some. It's always easy when you're going good, right? When you're dotting it up, when your ball sharp, it's like, dude, it's not. It's awesome in front of that many people. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I think the first time I felt that way or felt maybe some uneasiness was when scouts would come to games and you're pitching and you see all the guns pop up, behind home plate.
Yeah.
That was like the first time you get a little nervous, but then you kind of learn to phase that out. So then the next stage is in the minor leagues, the higher you get more and more fans around and more crowd, the louder, more people. Then you get like 50,000 people in the stadium. And so you just basically you learn to block it out. You learn to just focus on the task at hand. And basically, like I said earlier, you just focus on your breath. What I said in I think the first video we did, focus on your breath, counting your breaths, and then getting you back to the present time, what you're trying to accomplish, and just focus on each pitch and not worry about anything else going on. It's easier said than done, but it takes practice. It really does. It takes practice just to focus on what you're trying to do and how you're going to do it.
I think it's also important to realize and understand that it gains you nothing by worrying about the things you can't control.
Right.
And that is, I heard that a lot. I wish I would have understood that a lot sooner with my career, but you'll get all kinds of guys that, hey, you can't control it. Just worry about the things that you can control. And that's, that you can't control anything else. So just take care of your business and only your business. And that's really important to understand as well. And a lot of times it's hard to explain that. You've got to learn that on your own as well. So, Connor Carson wants to know, what is the fastest pitch you've ever thrown?
Fastest pitcher I've thrown 97. It was once or twice in 2014. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know what I was drinking that day there, but yeah, it was no, that was it. I've thrown 95, 96. 95 was a little more consistent. 96 a little more prevalent there than the 97s there, but now I think I'll get back there eventually. It's just now that I'm feeling good and I'm getting mechanically right, but I'm 90, 92 now.
Right on, man. Well, Jerad, hey, that'll wrap up our questions for this go round.
Yep.
Appreciate the time once again, and we'll be back for more, man.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. You got it.